then there's no reason for you to waste your time there. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Okay.
So why is that? Yeah, I was
Is this are we online right now?
We are broadcasting to everyone and no one.
It is recording.
It's got a free yes.
I can sign it.
No, I know. I already talked to Linda about it.
Okay. It's really recording. If we want, you can. Sure. Yeah. One breakfast and walking out. So. And that's where that's probably going for that friendship, like before it was
Hi, so how's the audio? Comment on the Google Hangout if you can hear me okay, because we will need the audio for this one. Just type in if you can for me to let me know you're actually here and that you can hear me. Are you getting audio? How's the audio? Let me know. Can you hear? I don't know if they can hear me or not, David. I'm not getting any comments. There's 4 viewers on paper.
There's 4 viewers.
But they're not communicating. I've held up a sign, I've typed, and I've spoken. We will need audio for this one.
Yeah, it is picking up audio.
Okay.
I can test it if that's by going on mine.
Yeah, that'd probably be good. So if you can hear me, I've put a link in the chat. So you'll want to make sure you have access to that. I've said hello. I've checked in with you about the audio. It's looking good on my end. Everything here says we're connected. And I've typed in, copied in, pasted in a link for you to a video that's about 5 minutes. So as we go through this, we'll get to a point where I'm asking you to watch this video. It's like 5 minutes. So that's part of the presentation here. That's why I want to make sure that we're communicating. If you have the PowerPoint, this is helpful, as you can look through the PowerPoint, but we'll be using a different video from the one that's embedded in the PowerPoint.
You're live.
Great. The topic is academic discourse. Academic discourse. And that really means how to talk in and with an academic community. An academic community, in other words, a certain kind of audience that you may not be used to talking to. A different kind of audience that is going to make it to where we have to communicate in new ways. The words we use might be different. The way we organize information, the way we cite information, all these strange rituals that are different from everyday communication because they're for a different group of people. So let's look through the PowerPoint together. If you're looking at what is academic discourse, it's going to tell you discourse equals communication and exchange of ideas about a specific topic. The first word being communication should suggest to you community. Community, a group of people that have particular ends and aims and goals. And so they're not just talking, they're not just shooting the breeze. And when they exchange ideas, either like this in a presentation or on paper in documents, they do it in certain etiquette forms. They do it according to certain rules because of the goals. So for example, we'll look at an instance today where a scientist, a neuroscientist, is talking to a group of people interested in science, and he doesn't just present his findings, he does a little experiment. He shows them, because this is what scientists do, they prove, they demonstrate, they show what their theory projects. So he's demonstrating it in front of them because in that world, in that community, if you can't prove it, if you can't do a lab demonstration of it, it didn't really happen. It doesn't count. So we want to think about communicating with the community that we're in. If it's a scholarly community, there are certain rules that we follow. Scholarly is a good word to use. Scholarly discussion, meaning listening also. So other people have made suggestions. We want to think about those and respond to them. This is a kind of conversation, but not an informal conversation. One thing, and as you go through the PowerPoint again, you'll see a slide that says understanding the conversation. One thing that makes this different, this scholarly thing that we do, is that it's cited. It's cited constantly, right? We have research and citations. Research, research, research. We have to start out when we have to write a paper or respond in a scholarly way. Start out with looking into a problem, figuring out even that there is a problem, looking at the situation. So whether we're in science, determining which experiment needs to be done, or we're in marketing, figuring out which kind of marketing strategies have been tried, which have failed in this particular market. If it's chemistry, looking at what experiments need to be done. Every field, from health to history, has a certain procedure that it goes through of looking at what questions have already been answered Because when we do scholarly research, we try to answer new questions and respond to other people's questions that haven't been answered yet. Then we start doing our own research and looking into that more deeply and trying to answer whatever questions we've come up with. So, but at every step of the way, you're looking for sources. And as we look at those sources, hopefully, we're not just assuming that they're forces of nature. When you pick up a book, please don't assume that everything the book says is true and has always been true, even if it's a book that's been assigned, right? You ask questions, you look into it. Who is this person? You have to write a report, you're looking up sources online. What is this website? Who are these people at this nonprofit or what have you? Who wrote this? How did it come to be? Do they have an agenda? Do they have a bias? That's not just a question that journalism students should be asking. We have to look into where our information is coming from. It's just good procedure. I had a student I was talking to the other day, and he had cited some random website. And he said, well, I was just citing some basic facts from the website. I didn't think it mattered who wrote the website. These are just basic facts, and I cited them. Well, it does matter. Who wrote the website? First of all, they might have included some facts and not others. They might have a bias, but even if they don't, do they have expertise? Do they know what they're talking about? And think of scaling this up as you leave college or go into internships, go into companies. You're linking your company's document to some random website. Now your company's brand is tied to that website. It's a dangerous business. So just follow good procedure, which is don't just randomly cite stuff, pull it off the internet and cite it. Look into who these people are. So let's look at an example. Let's think about an example. A pretty legit one. This is a neuroscientist. His name is Greg Gage. And again, the link to this TED Talk is in the discussion. You can Google it. Greg Gage, just like it sounds. G-A-G-E. Greg is his first name. He's a neuroscientist. This is his TED Talk. So Greg Gage is giving a TED Talk. What's a TED Talk? It's a conference called Technology Entertainment Design. And at the Technology Entertainment Design Conference every year, they summon some of the best minds from all over the world. This one where he's speaking happened to be in Vancouver, Canada. And those best minds talk about some of their recent findings. Now, Greg is a neuroscientist, so he's talking about neuroscience. Who's his audience? Who's his audience? That's one question I want us to think about. Who's the community that he's talking to? Of course, what's his main idea? What's he getting at? And then in general, what are the features of this presentation that you notice? What's he doing? If you were going to outline this, how would you outline it? Let's have a look at it. Greg Gage is his name, G-A-G-E. And he gave a TED Talk. You can find this very easily. I've also given you the link in our discussion here. You'll see it's about 5 minutes long.
I also wanted to talk about something.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free to type those in the discussion here as we are watching the Gage video, the TED Talk by Greg Gage.
And I want you to do some demonstration. All right. I need a volunteer. So right before, what is your name? Sam. I'm going to record your brain. Stick out your arm for science. So what I'm going to do, I'm putting electrodes on your arm. Well, we have about 80 billion neurons inside your brain right now.
So think as you're watching the video, what is he doing? For one thing, he's performing an experiment. Why? Who's his audience? Why is the experiment important? Is one audience here teachers? Is he sending a message about how to teach?
So right here, these are the motor units we're having from her spinal cord out to her neck right here. That's doing it. You're seeing the activity is happening. Yes, now we call this one motor action potential that's happening right now inside of your brain. Okay. Guess what you see some more? All right. That's interesting. Let's get it better. Okay. I need one more volunteer. Okay. What is your name, sir? Miguel. All right. You're going to stand right here. So if you're moving your arm like this, your brain is sending you outside of that range. I want you to move your arm. So your brain is the center of the signal out to your mind. So there is a nerve. Your brain signal going out of your hand and inject it into your hand. That your hand will move when your brain tells your hand to move it. So in a sense, she will take away your free will, and you will no longer have any control over this hand, okay? You with me? Alright, so I just need to hook you up. Alright, so I'm going to find your ulnar nerve. Probably right around here. You don't know what you're signing up for. You're lucky. So I'm going to move away, and we're plugging into our human-to-human interface right here. Okay, Sam wants you to squeeze your hand again. Do it again. All right, perfect. So now I'm going to look through here so that you get this. It's going to feel a little bit weird. It's going to feel like when you lose your free will and someone else becomes your agent, it does feel a bit strange. So I want you to relax your hand. All right, Sam, you're with me. All right, so you're going to do. If I can turn on your voice, give it a squeeze. All right. Now, are you ready to go? Okay, so I've turned it on. Go ahead and turn your hand. Can you feel that a little bit? There we go. A little bit. Okay, so relax. Go to hit it again. Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. All right, relax. Do it again. All right, so now. All right, so right now, your brain is controlling your arm and it's also controlling his arm. So go ahead and just do it. Right. All right, so that's perfect. So now, what would happen if I took over my control of your hand? So just relax your hand. What happens? Yes. Why not? Because the brain has to do it. So you do it again. All right, that's perfect. All right, well, thank you guys for being such a good sport. This is what's happening all across the world. Electrophysiology. We're going to create the neural revolution.
Okay, so hopefully you've taken the last 5 minutes to watch the 5-minute video of Greg Gage, his wonderful TED Talk, very easy to Google. And in that 5 minutes, what is he doing? What's the main idea? What audience is he trying to reach with that idea? And so how does he convey it? If we can answer those questions, we can say something about discourse, academic discourse for an academic community. See what you think. I would submit one audience he's talking to is educators and students saying, yes, number one, science can be fun, but also science can be really easy to teach. Not easy, I mean, it takes a certain talent, but not expensive either. You can teach neuroscience, you can do experiments without $1 million. That's good. If you've been sitting in your school as a teacher, worried that you don't have $1 million for your neuroscience lab, so you can't teach students about this cool stuff, well, there's an answer. And so, in fact, this guy who has a PhD in neuroscience, Greg Gage, has started a company called Backyard Brains. And one thing they do is sell and promote, not so much to make money, but to spread the ideas that you can do science in your backyard. You can do really responsible, accurate, educational experiments. And it doesn't have to take an advanced laboratory. Advanced laboratories are good and essential, but kids especially can start learning this stuff long before they're working on a PhD in neuroscience. So that's good for his money. That's great. That gets us with more scientists. A message for teachers. This guy can teach, and he's demonstrating a message for scientists as well. And then a secondary audience, a bigger one, that can just enjoy this show. So what does that add up to for us? If you're looking at your PowerPoint, you'll notice that the last slide just asks you to go back over some of these ideas. What is academic discourse? It's a particular way that we talk, communicate, cite our sources, demonstrate our findings for a particular community. Your slide in PowerPoint says we are trying to understand a particular environment. We are. It's a kind of scholarly discourse community where in person and virtually, because we read scholarly sources too, we marshal our evidence, we bring together our sources in order to step in to a conversation. And ultimately, the idea is you, by the time you're done here, as a graduate who is walking into that professional community, you too can add something to that conversation, right? Or why are we doing this? So you're not just turning in assignments or logging into workshops because you're trying to tick a box. You're doing it because it forms you into someone who can have those professional or scholarly or academic conversations. Look back at your own work as you're working on your next assignment and think, who needs to hear this? Who is the audience? Have I demonstrated what I came to demonstrate? Will they believe me? Do I sound like I understand the community I'm now in? Thanks.